Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry, from the informative to the insane, starring Ryan Rash.
I do not set out to shock or offend anyone, but I also don't do a damn thing to prevent it.
And Dale Hummel.
A wise man changes his mind. A fool never will.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel, along with co-star Ryan Rash.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ryan, thank you for adjusting your schedule to accommodate mine today. It is
everybody,
along with Clifton.
That's it.
It is a Tuesday afternoon, so we're recording a little later in the week than normal.
Yeah.
Current events, I have piles of them.
I have none.
Piles of current events.
Hunter had to go to his baby daddy hearing, and he wasn't going to show up. So the judge dictated that he showed up. And I don't know what happened after that, but Hunter's got more problems than even his daddy, if that's possible at the moment. It's very, very tough for him.
And why would Hunter request a reduction in his child support payments so everybody can shine a spotlight on what he earns or where his money comes from and where his paintings sold for? What would possess someone to do this at this time?
I'm just telling you, if I was the president's son and I had a baby by a stripper that I wouldn't even give my last name to, I would pay the woman whatever she wanted just to shut up, to go away.
And I think most people are thinking that she brought this up. No, he wants a reduction in child support. He's currently paying $20,000 a month, and he wants that reduced because his income is fallen. I don't know that he's ever had a job.
Oh, yeah, he worked for all them people in foreign nations. He was on Burisma's board and all kinds of shit. He got lots of jobs.
Yes, he did. Let's say, contrary to our producer's belief, he did sell access to Joe. Can we agree with that?
The emails say, evidently there's some new emails out today that say that he was selling access to Trader Joe.
And this is the same family that's making decisions that impact each and every one of our lives. And I cannot accept this to be right.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
So has Crazy Joe even acknowledged that he has a granddaughter?
That I can't tell you. No, he does not. No, I read that. He does not acknowledge that child exists.
Did you hear?
Cool.
Just great. Just great. Did you hear about the homeless people in Oregon? Maybe it's Portland. I'm not sure.
No,
for sure
I did not.
So if they're camped outside your house on the street or outside your place a bit, wherever, they're everywhere there. Remember I talked about those camps when you drive down the road? They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you were Ryan, if you lived in Portland, I'm not sure about the rest of Oregon, and you asked them, even if you were very, very polite about it, to move, you know what they can do?
What?
Sue you for $1,000.
A homeless person?
A homeless person. And as long as you did ask them to move, they will win. And they're aware of this.
Wow.
Isn't this just we've lost? It's amazing to me. Kind of like these. I've seen this on the news a couple times for a couple of years now, where you have a home, you own a home, and for some reason, maybe you're renting it and renters moved out, or it was sitting empty for a short period of time, and freeloaders move into it, squatters, and you can't get them out legally. You cannot evict them. You cannot get them out. They now have that home until you go through the legal process, which would take months oftentimes. It's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. This is where we're at in the world.
That's very strange.
I also wanted to very quickly bring up Anthony J. Blinken, our Secretary of State.
Yes.
So I don't like the man. So I did a brief bit of research on him.
You don't like him, but you don't know anything about him. That makes
no. I do
sense.
now.
You do.
No, my reason I didn't like him as he just hits me wrong. And then it came out that he was in a congressional hearing and said that he'd never had contact or emails with Hunter Biden prior to Joe's presidency or whatever. He was under oath in front of Congress, and he lied because there are now emails that he had lots of correspondence along with his wife and Hunter during the selling of access to the White House, we'll say. But as I do research, and he reminds me of your little boyfriend, the Prime Minister Macron from France.
Yeah, right.
He does. I see them being, and that, by the way, that Prime Minister of France is completely sold out to China. and we should acknowledge that. And no more help to France. I'm done. Nobody take a vacation there. No more France. Done with France. Okay. So just by coincidence, Mr. Blinken actually went to high school and got his undergraduate degree where?
No clue.
Paris.
Oh.
That explains a lot.
So he went to college in Paris.
He went to high school there as well. I assume he was his parents were diplomats. I don't know. I didn't go that deep. And he was also the part of the reason that I bring it up today. He was one of the main characters on pushing the Russian laptop hoax. He was the spearhead behind the 50 people signing the letter, whatever it is. So very, very bad person. He served for Clinton, Obama, and now crazy ass Joe, but very, very bad person.
Very bad person.
Yes, I can't even begin. My buddy Tucker Carlson, I saw some statistics on Fox News, and I did not fact check this. This was
not good.
Colombian,
not good for Fox.
Colombian Post. They went from 3.3 million viewers to 1.2 in a 72-hour period.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Now I don't know if it's accurate.
It is. No, that's for real. Yeah, that's not.
That seems more extreme than I am a Tucker Carlson fan, and I still watch Fox News. I think it's crap what happened. I don't have another option. I can't find the channel for that Garage News. I'm not sure what channel they're on. So I can't bounce.
It's because they're coming out of a basement in a garage. That's why. But they did replace Tucker, and I think you should give the guy a chance because I think he's cool as hell. His name's Lawrence Jones. He's the guy.
I like Lawrence Jones.
He's the guy that's always in the stupid cafe and diners asking everybody, what the pressing issues are, who they're going to vote for. All that. He can do way more than what he does, I think. And so I think he will be very good at this. But again, you have to wait and see. But
I like everything he's done. And they pushed him hard like 6 months ago, and he kind of disappeared a little bit recently. But now, obviously, he took the prime spot.
Yeah, so
I think he'll do a great. That doesn't mean they should have terminated Tucker.
No, I don't even. I mean, I understand why they terminated Tucker. I know most of you people do not. I get it.
I don't.
$800 million.
He was one of them out of several that reported on it, and the other.
He started it. It began with him, and so anyway, but.
Well, they have to pay that whether they fired him or not.
I think it probably would have been worse if they didn't, because I think the original suit was like for $2.2 billion.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure there's nothing in this settlement that says that, but you and I both know that there's lots of things that don't get put in paper in these settlements that you will adhere to. So
agreed. You are in San Antonio, correct?
Yes, I am.
May I talk about the border now that you're getting closer to it?
Sure.
I mean, you could take a 3-4 hour drive. You could be right in the heart of it. You could. You could.
No.
You're not far. Okay, what about the 5 people that were murdered in your state of Texas after they simply asked their neighbor not to shoot his gun while their children were trying to sleep? Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Okay, your girlfriend, your little LBGTQXYZ girlfriend, the White House press secretary one. You know which one I'm talking about?
Number one, I don't think she's lesbian. But
I do not even know her name.
Jean-Pierre something.
Yeah, one of those French things. I'm out.
Now China has been replaced with France. France is the new enemy.
I am not happy with France. Okay. Anyway, she comes up in one of their press hearings or meetings, whatever, conferences, and she comes out and says that these 5 murders could have been prevented with more gun control laws. Obviously, Texas doesn't have as many gun control laws as other states, which we all know is crap, that it would not have prevented it. And she failed to mention this person that appears to have shot the 5 other neighbors.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
He has been deported. He's an illegal immigrant that's been deported no less than 5 times.
Oh,
but she did not mention this at all. Did not mention it.
Right.
Shortly after this, she comes out and she's talking about the border. And to my surprise, this past year, the border illegal immigrant border crossing has dropped 90%. What fantasy state is she living in?
She really didn't say that.
She really did say that. I am not kidding.
No.
No, she did say it.
Oh,
She did say it.
She's not in. She's on drugs.
But this is a perfect example that they just say anything and people don't. They believe it. I think. I'm concerned that the populace, a section of them, believe this bullshit that's coming out of their mouth, and that's why they continue these crazy lies. You go to fact check her on Google, and there's not much out there. They don't. I can't even begin to explain how frustrated I get with these things, but it's bad. It's bad. And right now you've got crazy ass Joe is going to let Title 42 expire here in the very near future. That's going to increase the illegal immigrant border crossings while all these people are coming across the border and all of our border agents are tied up. Here comes the cartel members, the gang members. Here comes the fentanyl. Here comes everything else because there's nobody to stop them. The White House is sending 1,500 troops to the border. You would think, well, that's a wow. They flip sides. They're going to stop this at the border. They're not sending them there to stop people from crossing the border, Ryan. They're sending them there to help process people more quickly, to get more people processed and released. This is your president.
He's your president too, jackass.
No, he is not. I'm out completely on this one. I don't know. So, and I've stated this previously. This is by design. This isn't an accident. This isn't bad policy. There is no question that the White House wants an open border, and they've accomplished it. They've done it. And I've stated previously that if I lived outside of this country and there is an open border, I'm going to come to the U.S. to get a better life. I don't blame those good families that are coming across. I'm not in favor of that open border by any means, but I do not put the blame on them. I put the blame directly on the policy coming out of the White House. Period. Done. Frustrating. I have one more thing to vent.
I'm listening. Been listening.
Electric cars.
What is going on with electric?
I told you I would enjoy driving an electric car. I kind of like my little electric golf cart. I think there's some neat things about it. Do I think they're practical? No. Okay. Obviously, California is mandating such a percent of electric cars to be manufactured or sold in California by a certain date. Joe has us on this path that all of our major car manufacturers are going electric, and they're being subsidized with our tax dollars to go electric. And he's creating all kinds of incentives for this to happen. Let's think about the reasons why we should not do this. And I think electric cars would be great if we could manufacture them here in this country. If we put up some nuclear power plants to power all these electric cars and worked on our infrastructure so it could happen, great. I'm very much in favor of that. We do not have the power, and more importantly, China controls 80% of the lithium batteries that are being produced for the electric cars because they control primarily lithium and cobalt coming out of South America and the Congo. They have controlled these mines for several years, anticipating this. And then our wonderful president mandates and pushes us to move electric so we can be that much more reliant on China. What, is this deliberate, Ryan?
Dude, I don't think anything that the Biden people do is deliberate at this point.
They can't be this stupid. They can't.
Oh, I think you're so confused. I think they can't.
Why would we put ourselves in a position that we have to rely on China even more just to get from point A to B? When I say they control 99% of the mines in the Congo are controlled by China. And these are horrendous working conditions, child labor. I mean, we have all of these things that supposedly the liberals are against, but they have this selective give a shit when it comes to that. They don't, even though it's terrible. I wish you could explain this to me, how this is going to work, Ryan. Explain it. Are you going to buy an electric car? What about you getting from Crockett to San Antonio? I'm assuming that pushes most electric car limits. I don't know.
They're just going to have to find me or whatever. I'm not buying an electric car. It's just not going to work out.
I think it'd be maybe fun to have one, but there's no practicality to it. It just
what would be fun about it?
I think they got incredible pickup from 0 to 60, or I don't know. I don't think it should be something you rely on. Let it evolve. And when we're ready for it, when we have lithium that we can mine right here in the U.S. There's one lithium mine, I believe it is in Nevada, Silver Peak, Nevada. We have 4% of the lithium material, or I guess the mineral, on the planet right here in the U.S. But for some reason, we would prefer not to mine. I'm sure it's a challenge to get. I have no idea. It bothers me. All of these things bother me. Bother me. So that is all I have to rant about China today. And other than
you didn't rant about China, you ranted about France.
Well, and China controlling. Basically, without China, we don't have electric vehicles. So why do we want electric vehicles?
Because China likes Joe, and Joe loves China.
In all seriousness, why would Joe push this? Because he believes it to be green. We forget how we make electricity that's still coming from fossil fuel. I cannot come up with one legitimate reason to push the envelope. And if we could have electric cars, nuclear power plants, we had our own infrastructure and mines to get the lithium and to get the cobalt to make the batteries, I think it's great. But we don't have any of that. We don't have, it is not physically possible to move to the electric as fast as what car manufacturers are doing and what Joe wants us to do without completely relying on China. And that is wrong.
Well,
maybe we should go to something more positive.
No, I do. I have a current event type thing that's nothing like yours. But anyway, so, and I'm sure everybody is tired of hearing about it, but it's a big deal. But so this Bud Light nonsense, it's not going away.
It's not.
No.
I saw a couple memes on social media.
Oh, no, it's bad. Like, they are hemorrhaging money off this.
I believe they deserve it.
Off this partnering with the man thinks it's a woman, trans person, Devaney, whoever the hell it is, she is, he is. Well, anyway, but like,
you better be careful. You're going to offend some of the community.
I offend them every day with my presence. Dylan Mulvaney, that's who the hell it is. But anyway, what I don't know if he's a he, a she, trans. I don't know where he is in this process.
And I think it's fine that he or she is whatever. That's all.
I don't care what he wants to be. I don't give a shit. Like, you do whatever the hell you want.
It was just a very bad advertising decision.
I do have a problem, and that you're going to talk about me getting in trouble with the community. Well, anyway, see, this is my problem. Like the people that are identifying as a man that was a man that's still biologically a man identifying as a woman. Okay. So like, and I probably said this on here before, like Caitlyn Jenner, she went the full distance. Okay. Like, everything is now anatomically correct by like surgical, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That, if you're that committed to it and that is what you truly believe can make you happy, and you have the money and want to do then you go for that. Okay? Like that, like Bruce, Caitlyn, she did, but they went the full distance. Don't just like slap on a dress and a wig and get yourself
in a swimming pool.
Right. Yeah, no. Or grow your hair. No. If you want to truly be a man and you're a woman, or a woman and a man, whatever, then go the distance and whatever.
And I think it's perfectly fine for them to even not go the distance, but
no bullshit.
Don't use the other person's bathroom. Don't join some sporting event because you're going to do better. Yeah, throw a dress on, call yourself a woman. None of it affects me, as long as.
Well, it doesn't affect any of us except that person. But I'm just saying, like, I think you, if that's what you truly believe, then you need to go the whole way.
I assume it's fairly expensive to do that.
That's what I said, but I mean, I get it. But anyway, back to my original point. So this Bud Light deal, it's bad. Like, they've dropped like 26% sales the first week, and it's gone downhill since that, and all this other stuff. But what I find interesting is that this is all this woke culture, all this good, golly, great, grand stuff.
You're the woke one. You are the woke one.
I am not woke at all. But anyway, today a new poll came out, and it targeted GOP primary voters, and 89%, 89% in this poll said that they want the GOP presidential nominee to fight against wokeness, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I think I think that's a large number, but still, it does not surprise me. Would you agree with that?
I agree, and
okay, but hold on, you're missing the interesting. Let me get to the interesting point. This is going to offend you, but
great.
54% of this. No. Yeah, 50. I think 54. 54-49. I can't remember exactly. 54-49. So we're talking like less than 5%. Believe that Trump stands up against woke ideals and all this other stuff. Okay. Guess how much percentage think DeSantis stands up against woke ideas?
Isn't that the hottest topic? Him and Disney's woke problems?
I'm asking you how much percent.
Remember, I'm trying to predict the ignorance of our population, and that is hard.
23.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. That's what we're dealing with in our populace. That is what we're dealing with.
I think it's so funny.
Gosh, and you know what? If a company wants to be woke, fine. I just choose not to support them. They can do anything they want, but if you're going to do that, you may.
I agree. I mean, any company has the right to do it. I mean, it's America. Do whatever they want, but like,
I don't think it's smart.
No, I don't think it's smart either. But I find it hysterical that your boyfriend down there in Florida, who has like built his whole image around, I am where woke comes to die and all this other shit. He's even trailing by 30% in a poll to Trump on that.
His message is clearly not getting out there. I do want to make a comment about this. I
think it's hysterical.
I have been exposed to some of Trump's ads hammering on DeSantis, and they do not appeal to me. They actually,
of course, they don't, because you are in a bromance with DeSantis.
No, I just don't think those two need to be fighting with each other. That doesn't do the party any good at all.
It's called a primary election, Dale.
I think that Trump is losing. Will I vote for whoever the conservative Republican nominee? Absolutely. And I would love to have Trump in the White House. But I think the manner he is going about it is not the most effective.
Okay.
We've talked about this 1,000 times. If he could reel back the arrogance and the biggest, the best, the most, all of those things, just a little, he would appeal to so many more people. And he's just not going to do it.
But I just thought that was funny that not only, I mean, the whole woke thing again, I don't understand it. I don't get it. But like,
I think it's just the populace we're dealing with.
They want to do whatever they want to do. But you talk about the stupidity or the ignorance of the main, whatever, American voter, whatever. All this, you talk about Bud Light being stupid. They got a beer company and they did this. So like, don't even talk to me about dumb is on all levels.
It is. I wish it wasn't there. I really wish.
It is on all levels, sir. So there you go.
Okay, positive. You know what's always positive? Every episode. BTRJLA
got to do your water boy duties.
No, that's after the news on BTRJLA.
Oh, BTRJLA. Yes. Okay. So BTRJLA, I want to thank Brock Farms Angus Cattle from Indiana for being a corporate sponsor again in 2023. They were in 2022, and they are again here this year, and we appreciate that. Brock Farms Angus Cattle is a fourth-generation family farm located 45 minutes west of my favorite city in the world, Indianapolis. Yes, in the town of Stylesville, Indiana. David and Chris, with their children, Andy and Katie, maintain 150 commercial Angus cattle, focus on raising genetically superior cattle while striving to balance phenotype with production. They offer breeding stock, feeder calves, and freezer beef. They are a unique cattle operation that has high-quality commercial cattle as well as top Angus genetics that are competitive in the show ring. Again, they have a progressive embryo transfer program and that helps accelerate their top genetics. They are using embryos from proven winners to raise great Angus show heifers and Angus show steers. Brock Farms Angus Cattle believes in helping youth to be successful with their project, whether it's purchasing the steer heifer. Both of their children were 10-year 4-H members, and they watched those kids gain skills that help them be shape their futures, and they want to help other kids in the same way. That's why they are a big supporter of the junior livestock show industry and have been a great supporter to the Beyond the Range Junior Livestock Association this past 2 years. So want to say big thank you to Brock Farms Angus Cattle for being a corporate sponsor again for this year. And like I said, if you're in the market for an Angus or a ribeye steak or whatever, you can get it all right there. You just stop in and buy it all.
I like that concept. I like their philosophy on what type of cattle that they're going to. Some show ring look with some performance in them, some real product at the end. Why can't we just go that direction? What's wrong with that?
No. So, we did all the novices, and you were right. Now I must say, I, unlike you, can admit when I am wrong, and you were right.
My.
I had done goats the week before, so I did goats and sheep, and it was covered. But this week, I'm going to give the top 10 all around because we haven't done that since the start of the year or a while. And so, in first place, last year's runner-up and reserve champion, Piper Liska of Yuma, Arizona. Second place right now, Taylor Poff.
May I have the points?
First is 695, and second is 532.
And that's all, like you can have 4 species?
Right, yeah. You can do all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Third is Todd Danley of Texas. Fourth is Garrett. Ooh, I'm going to mess this name up. Roosh of Spencer, Ohio. Fifth is Dallas Ritchie of LaPorte, Indiana. Sixth is Sarah Danley of Texas. Seventh is Callie Simpson of Arizona. Eighth is Haley Cornett of Hillsboro, Ohio. Ninth is the other Poff twin, Tatum Poff of Chardon, Ohio. And 10th is Walton Avery of Cisco, Texas. And so that is our top 10 in the all around as of today.
It's interesting. It sounds heavy Ohio, little Texas, and Arizona.
Yes.
Just more shows right now. We assume Texas.
Well, Arizona has like 900 shows in January, it seems like. I mean, like January, but the weather's still good in January and February in Arizona, where a lot of places it isn't. But so.
And watch out, Ohio's just getting cranked up. So those kids are going to keep on climbing.
Do you have some water boy duties you would like to do?
I do have some water boy duties, if you would like.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I would like to extend a thank you to our episode sponsor, ShowFresh H2O. Low cost, high return. Pick up ShowFresh H2O at your local farm store, supply trailer, or order online at swampfox.com.
Do you feel better now?
I do. I appreciate that. Now, we want to make sure to be very clear with this. The title of today's episode is Premium Sale Order, not to be confused with Online Sale Order, but Premium Sale Order.
Or Auction Sale Order, any of that.
And
Premium Sale Order.
Those of us in the Midwest or the North,
y'all don't know anything about this. So.
There's not a lot of shows here other than the national shows that we go to that we would be exposed to this. But Oklahoma, Texas.
What national shows do sale order?
Well, I believe Kansas City now does.
Oh, Kansas City does?
I don't know. Here fairly recently, but and I guess that's, I don't know if I don't think the others do. Well, they have a sale order, but it's not standing. I should clarify, you're not standing out as a judge selecting it specifically, which we'll talk about that more. But Ryan, you are the sale order expert. So please lead us.
I am. And so I guess, since this is really just kind of, it's very popular in Texas and Oklahoma, and that's the 2 states that I see it the most. And it's mainly at the county fair level. But for those of you that don't know anything about this, I guess I need to give you a brief synopsis or description of what this is. So heavily in Oklahoma, even at OIE and heavily in Texas, at most county fairs, they have something called sale order. And so what happens is like if it's the let's just go with the market steers, and they don't have breeds, they just have classes of steers, or if they have breeds, whatever. They bring them all back out there, and after you pick in the Grand Reserve, they start lining them up and all this. And if they're going to sell 32 market steers in the premium auction, and they line them up, whether it's all the class winners, seconds, thirds, whatever, breed champions, all this, and then the judge goes through and picks third through 32nd, and normally there's alternates and all this other stuff. And so every time you pick one, then they bring another one in and puts it in line and all this other stuff. And the reason they say that they do this is because ultimately, if the judge is going through and picking out individually, 3 through 50 or whatever in the sale order like that, then the top however many animals make the premium option actually get in there, as opposed to we're going to sell 1 through 3 in each class, or we're going to sell a percentage of this, or all this other stuff. So that is what sale order is. And unless you've ever seen it, you're probably sitting here listening to it. I have no idea what he is talking about, because until you've seen it, you really can't just describe it, I don't think, Dale.
No, and I think, just to be clear for everybody, this is actually the judge out there, and you can't get to fourth in class until you use the third one in class. They come out in those orders. Mm-hmm. So let's say those steers had 5 weight divisions, and your champion and reserve is already picked. So you're starting with what, third overall?
Right.
And you've got, depending on where the champion and reserve, which division, which weight class they came out of.
Yeah, but okay. So also, before you get to that, normally it's third, but there's some sales that if you had breed champions, that maybe the breed champion's guaranteed. So all breed champions are guaranteed. So hell, I have judged county fairs in all species that have been like that breed or reserve breed champions were guaranteed to make sale. And if I was picking the legitimate, just top one, maybe one of those breed or reserves doesn't get in there. But go ahead, Dale, what you're saying. Let's just take it from third. We'll just say that it's.
Yeah, so let's go from third. So they bring these animals out. Let's say you have your 5 divisions or 5 class winners, whatever you want to talk about it. And the next one in line is that front row. All you can select from is that front row. And you may have that class 1 winner or class 1 division winner sitting right there, and you would have had to pick within the divisions if it wasn't classes fairly deep to accommodate this at the very end. So it even becomes more complicated if you're pulling divisions out. You have had to have gone fairly deep within each division to make sure you are deep enough to get your top 30 or whatever it may be. So that continues to complicate things. But then you're out there as a judge, and you're grabbing a hold of these, and they'll shift them up as soon as you pull one out of that front line. The next one in order, say you just use third out of class 2, is gone. Fourth out of class 2 moves up, and they may be competing against your winner out of class 1. And if you're picking 30 some of them out there, Ryan, what about that poor kid in class 1 that's got this lightweight one that just isn't good enough? How long are they standing out there?
Well, and that's the whole purpose of why I wanted to bring this up, because first off, I don't understand how sale order is not a nightmare for everyone involved. I just don't, because let's just talk about it I'll talk about it in depth from a judge's perspective, but from a show management perspective or a volunteer, keeping all of that track of, okay, third place, class 2 just got pulled, we need fourth place, whatever. And, it's easier if it's cattle, sheep, and goats, because you can physically kind of stack them 3 deep or so in order in a ring. You can't do that with pigs. Like, you can't just have them all. I mean, you've got to wait till that one goes out, then run the next one in. But just the paperwork alone of having to keep track of that and knowing which one comes in next and which one moves up. And then if you can only sell one, oh, wait, Johnny just got pulled with his third place class 6, but he's also got first in class 2 and third. And I would go insane.
So Johnny's now excused from the ring.
Right. Johnny and then the other three animals that he showed can't come back and play. And I mean, all that. And so bookkeeping, I think that would just like be the absolute worst job in the history of the world. And so bless whoever does that part.
Let me make a prediction on why they're doing this. And I don't know. It's simply a prediction. And maybe you can guide me on this. I assume, obviously, the sale order, when it comes to that premium sale, the thought process is those further up in the sale order are going to bring more money, even though we know that is not true. And we can cite some examples, but that is the philosophy on it. And if it was just up to the superintendent to determine sale order, all of a sudden, little Johnny that just missed making the sale because he was fifth in such and such class, and the superintendent thought class ahead of him was deeper, so he went deeper. It takes the politics out of it. It's all on the judge. But if you're somewhere like San Antonio or Houston or I think any of the majors, Ryan, and you could speak on it better than I, they're going to pick a grand reserve overall, and I believe they're pretty much done across species after that. But there is still a sale order, and it's established from the placings from within each class and or division. But it's already this. We know before that show even starts that after grand and reserve and after division winners, it's going to go to class one, class winner, class two, class. There isn't an order established. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that is correct. And I mean, I think there are several reasons why people have this sale order thing. And what first is they think that the overall best number of animals make the sale. I think what you say is right, that, it takes the politics out of it in terms of deciding, the formula or who actually makes it. There's no guesswork. It's all on the judge. And I think there's some, value to what you say in terms of that they're in line from 1 to 15, if that's what makes the sale in that order, so they don't have to worry about the actual order that they put them up there and deal. But at the county fair level, which is where this happens, I mean, I didn't even know that Kansas City did sale order, to be honest with you, but I know OYE does. But other than those,
I'm not. They only sell, for example, in the goats 10, but they pick 10 for the sale, because it used to be you didn't have to come out if you wanted to take it home, but now it's required. And I assume they take that placing right to the sale. There's no.
Right.
I would be shocked if they didn't.
But this is overwhelmingly at a county fair level. And my point is, at the county fair level, I really don't think what your animal brings has a lot to do with where you are in the actual sale order. It's about who went out and recruited people to support their kid at the county fair sale, or you know what I'm saying? Like, who went and found some buyers to bid on it and all this other stuff. I think that's probably got way bigger hand into how much.
Far more important when that kid goes out there and personally shows up at some of those agriculture businesses or any business and makes a good impression, or sends out a well-written notification that their animal's selling, or whatever manner they go about it. And in some of these county fair sales say, well, our sales are terrible, but the kids do nothing to help it. It's all on the auction committee. The real successful county fairs, and I can use my wife's as an example in Jackson County, Oregon, incredible county fair auction, better than most state fairs that I'm aware of. But those kids get out there and they actually go into the community and recruit those buyers. And afterwards, there's a thank you. There's appreciation, maybe is the best way to put it. And it's very, very much out in the open. So I'm with you, Ron. I don't know that sale order matters. The other example is, look at your majors. If you've got a local kid to San Antonio that puts an animal in the San Antonio sales, that one going to probably outsell some that are ahead of it in the sale order?
Oh, if you were a kid that in Bexar County, or a county that touches Bexar County in San Antonio, you are going to beat the dog shit out of 90% of the kids in the sale at San Antonio. That's just how it is. And there is nothing wrong, because at San Antonio, per se, those are local businesses in that area, and they want to support their local kids more. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
So I have problems with them when they say, well, this sale order that the judge picked, and first first, grand and reserve, and third, and whatever. It'll all be distributed equally in terms of money. I have that. Then another thing, if you're at the county fair level, when you get ready to do this, it takes a herd of people. Like they get every ag teacher and every county agent, and it's still not enough people. And you're lining these animals up and all this other stuff. And it is just a daunting process in terms of, okay, we're going to bring in all the ones from class 1 now, and we're going to line them up 1 through however. We can only fit 5 deep in the ring. So 6, 7, 8, 9. Y'all hang out back here. I mean, it is just like herding cats. That is the only thing. I mean, it is just, it is so, so insane. And so, again, from a volunteer, a county fair board member, or a bookkeeping deal, I think this would just have to be, it's a pain at the very least. And so then, again, the big selling point on this, because I have asked many people, is that they truly believe that if they make the judge go through the process and pick, what it is, 1 through 20 or 1 through 50 or whatever it is, then that's the way they should be and all this other stuff. So I, who am always very honest, I'm going to give y'all a dish of real big honesty on this sale order thing.
Do not incriminate yourself. Don't do it.
I'm going to incriminate myself because I'm just going to tell you the truth. Now, in every, just like I said, every county fair does this differently. Sometimes it's breeds, sometimes it's just classes, it's all this stuff. But the first thing is, and Dale alluded to this earlier, there is going to be either a lightweight or a super heavyweight or a breed that is not, as competitive as most or others, whatever you like, if it's an American steer, whatever you want to call it. That kid is going to be
maybe a Berkshire hog, right?
Something, whatever, and
or a mini Hereford.
I mean, we can give 1,000 examples, and they are sitting out there, and they were there when the sale order started, because let's just say in a county fair hog show in Oklahoma, maybe there's only a couple of Berks, so whatever. And they were out there when the sale order started, and you're 15 deep, and this kid has been out here and never got pulled.
It's been out there from the beginning.
Right, from the get-go.
And are you starting to feel a little bit bad for him?
And you are feeling like the world's largest jackass. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have any heart at all or not. You feel god-awful. And anybody that has ever does this and tells me I'm wrong, they're lying. Because because again, I don't think that I am this big sympathetic, empathetic, whatever person, and I have lost friendships of a lifetime over how I saw. And I'm telling you, I feel like the world's biggest jackass when this kid has been out here for 30 minutes and ain't got it. And you will break down, and you will eventually give that kid a slot. You just will.
Are you saying that you have done this?
I have done it.
And was there a better animal out there at that time?
Yes, there was.
You just incriminated yourself.
I still did it.
You did it. You just did it.
I still did it because damn it, I cannot leave this kid out here any damn longer. I cannot. And get in my car and not want to run myself off the road. And so, yes. And
this is coming from somebody that I would like everybody to understand. I know you don't realize this. He has less empathy than anybody I know.
Zero.
It just is what it is.
Zero. Yeah, man, you people really don't know me. Y'all do not. No. If you knew me on the level that y'all would realize when I'm telling you I have zero empathy, I have less than. If there is a barometer for less, it is me.
And it still gets you on this one.
And yeah, and I'm telling you, you just feel god awful. You do. And again, I don't. And so that is one way that I think that, again, even with the judge out there doing it, the purpose is not fulfilled, because this happens every time. It happens in every sale order, everything, all this other stuff. I'm not saying that every time, but every time I have done, I'm like, Jesus, I wish I could get that kid that's been hanging in there for 20 minutes in, but I just can't. And most times, sometimes you can't. And a lot of times but I'm telling you, I have done it. I have felt that bad and done it before. And so that part, I don't think that is necessarily true. And there's also other things to this. Okay. So let's say, let's say you've got, whether it's breeds, let's say the Hamp pigs were real tough, or if the steer show was just, like American British exotic, or they have a crossbred division, whatever, your mind sits there and you're like, well, these are good, but Hamps were tougher than the Yorks, or crossbreds were naturally tougher than, and all this stuff. You have all these things going through your mind that it's not just like in that class where you're going, that one's the best, that one's next, but there's all this other shit weighing in now. And again, it's part of it.
My only...
You're laughing because you've never done this.
I have in a small level long ago, but no, not very often. Now, the most exposure I have to this, and I go to all the majors on a regular basis in Texas, but also OYE. And I'm usually just watching the goat show. Occasionally I'll go watch the lambs or the steers. But for the most part, when they're doing this, the problem that I have, and I'm out there watching the judge sort, it's usually in the goats, I'm going to say roughly 30 goats get pulled for the sale. And then again, that's just an estimate. Don't hold me to this. The problem that I have, that if you get behind one of those goats that the judge got up into third in a class and just maybe stubbed their toe a little bit on that one, that maybe shouldn't have been that high. If you're sitting in fourth, even to get placed in your division.
You can't ever get out of it.
No.
You can't get up there.
So if the judge stubs their toe just a little bit, even in a class, it impacts the long term. That person sitting right below it, they're stuck. They can't get out. They can't get in.
Because that third one gets in line and never gets pulled, and you're sitting right there and you never get to get in the line. Yeah.
And you're just dying. It just doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, there's 1,000 things, just like you're saying that, because no one, again, this is freaking one person's opinion and nobody is 100% dead on what everybody's going to be like, oh, well, then damn it. I don't remember that one being that bad. That was fourth in the middleweight, whatever.
Yeah, no, and it happens. I promise you, right? It's happened to you.
I promise you. I'm like, damn it. I don't remember that one being like that shit. And,
exactly.
And so that's part of it. And then you get stuck behind that one and you never get up there and whatever. And the biggest thing, and I'm going to say this too, and again, incriminate me, not incriminate, whatever you want to say, but I'm speaking the truth. I think the biggest flaw with all of this is it is at the end of the show. There's no other way to it is at the end of the show. And I don't care if it's been a small county fair or a big county fair or whatever you want. If you have gone out there and given your all and done all this and whatever, you are mentally taxed already. And then they say, okay, it's time for sale order. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'd rather shoot myself in the head. And that is part of it. And so then not only is it after the show and then there's this production, whatever, you're tired, all these other people are tired, but then I have never met a person in my life like, oh my God, I can't wait to do sale order at the end. Yippee, let's go. No, that does not happen. They're all like me. They're like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'd rather just die right now. And so that weighs in and you're sitting there and it's just bad. It's just not good. And so there's all these reasons against it that nobody ever talks about. And like, for instance, when we had the lunch break podcast a couple weeks ago, I can't tell you how many people have called me, texted me, snapped me, said, thank God somebody said something. Because everyone sees these things and knows these things, and I'm not saying they believe or 100% on board with everything, but a lot of it they just won't say out loud. And so this is why this is another one of those topics. Then again, I know it doesn't affect everybody, but y'all at least get a chuckle out of it, that it doesn't affect you trying to picture this. But I'm literally saying the things that most people won't say because it's just not a real good concept overall, in my opinion. Does that mean that I'm never going to judge a county fair that does sale order, or I'm not going to give it my all every single time? No, but I'm just saying, I don't think in general this is a great concept, and these are the reasons why. Now, I never want to be that person that says, this sucks, we need to get rid of it, don't do it, and do not give you an a different
an
alternative. Thank you.
Okay, but before you go to alternative, there's more problems with this I want to bring out. Just real quick. And I'm going to use you as an example. You're going to incriminate yourself again because you have to tell the truth on this.
I have been telling the truth.
So you're out there in this top 30 or 60, whatever you have to do. What's the highest number you had to go down to, you think?
I think one time I had to do like 70.
Oh, I cannot even. No, I'm dying. No.
And it was hogs.
Oh,
and that's worse because again, and like,
and you realize when you got to about 10 through 70, I think your level of give a shit was leaving.
No, I'm telling, and that's what I said. Like from that, what I just brought up, like there is nobody's like, yes, my favorite part of judging the show is sale order. Let's go. Okay. No, you're like, I want to hit myself.
Go back to your lamb and goats. This is where it's going to affect it probably the most. Maybe the others too. It's hogs and cattle as well. But okay, what about that kid that has 2 class winners or division winners, or let's say in that front row that we're picking from, and they're on one of them and they put somebody else on the other one that they just had to grab last minute and they just can't even show.
And sometimes there's not enough kids, so it's like a parent just holding an animal out there.
And what if you're stuck behind that one, showing your butt off, and you've got this showman in front of you? Yeah, you are
screwed.
No, it doesn't work.
I didn't even think about this, and glad for you bringing it up because you're right. Because like there are going to be several kids that have 2 or 3 in that line, and they're on one. And then the one that you're behind, they've got somebody that they just grabbed a warm body, or it's just a parent or whatever. And if it's a lamb and a goat,
good luck.
You're dead. You're dead stuck in the water.
Stuck in that hole
until the one that kid's showing gets out, and he either gets on another one or they send all his out because you can only get one in the sale order. You're done. But in the same token, same way with cattle, you've got one out there, and either somebody's never been on that calf is showing it, or it's just a volunteer that's being a placeholder, all this other stuff. You're stuck behind that one's bad. Then the worst part is sale order on the hogs. And I have said this a million times. So the hog deal, you can't line them up in the ring like you do these other ones. So you have, like, you pick 4th overall. All right, we need 2nd place, class 5 cross. And so maybe that one is in the pen ready to go. So it comes in. Judge picks the next one. Long story short, those hogs are continuously driving. Do you know how much that affects them when it is you got to pick 20 or 30 or whatever, and then you have to wait in between for somebody to get their 3rd place one from the pens up to the show
driving.
And even when you tell them, hey, let's relax, let's wait for the next one, get here, all this other stuff.
I have just changed my opinion on this, Ryan.
I mean, it is an awful.
I think it's great because guess which ones hold up?
You want them to die and fall over.
The sound ones, the least effort. Great.
Yeah.
I think everybody should do this. Top 60 in the hog ring.
Yeah.
I'm in.
But no, what you were referring to at the beginning is like, I think I've done 70 before, but you were talking about after 10, you're just like, I could care less. And you fight it as much as you can. And we all know how seriously I take judging shows. And I'm one of the few that does this many county fairs because I believe you get screwed over the worst at your county fair. That's why I go judge them and all this other. But like, there is a point where it just inevitable that you're like, I can't anymore. Just you go. Fine. What do I mean? And again, on this, we're getting the best animals in the sale. There are other things that come into factor because when you're talking about that line, whether it's somebody's own, there's going to be a kid that maybe they were 3rd in the heat, whatever class. behind the, and it was closed. They are pissed off, and they're not wanting to give 110% anymore. And you can tell they're pissed off, and that makes you mad as a judge because the kids. But I cannot tell you how many scenarios where I can tell you something other is going to affect what happens other than the actual alignment of said animals.
Agreed. And on the defense, to be fair on both sides, I like the idea that if there's only so many animals that make the sale, whatever percentage that may be or set number, I like the idea that we're bringing the best 10 animals or the best 30 animals in rather than pulling X amount out of each class when one of those classes may have been very weak. I understand the concept. I get it. However, over time, if it's clear that the top 4 in every class are going to be in the sale, guess what? If that lightweight class used to be easy or that super heavyweight class used to be easy or is for a couple of years, people will migrate there and it will become more difficult and more competitive because that's the logical slot to the sale. But I think in theory, I appreciate the concept that they're trying to get the best 10 animals or the best 30 animals into the sale, irregardless of what class they were in. I like the concept.
I agree that the concept is great, and it on the level, it makes sense. I do not think the concept works the way that they think it does. That was what I'm trying to get across here.
And don't you think the Texas majors? I see it very clearly. Okay, I'll get a call from a buyer that says, "Hey, 3 or 4 years ago, they said, hey, I want a light division goat for San Antonio, and the weight breaks are usually about right. Here's where we need
because
to be.
Because that's the easiest place to get a sell hole.
And guess what? After 2 or 3 years of that, guess what that division becomes?
That's the toughest one. Yes. And then it just migrates around and rotates out and all this other stuff. And just like you said, if you are at a county or any show that has sale, there are people that are going to watch that to see, well, what is the easiest breed? What is the easiest weight class? Whatever, to try to get one of those sale holes. And it never stays the same, because if it always stayed the same forever, then everybody would go there, but it doesn't. And so just because of what you're saying, people watch it, people observe it, and they're like, hey, we need to try this. And it's not just one person. So all of that averages out. But on the alternatives that I think you could do instead of doing sale order, of course, there is an easy way. If you have breeds, then you figure out percentage of how many were crossbreds, how many were Durocs, whatever, and then you figure out how many you have in your sale, and you take a certain number out of each deal. Or if it's classes, where this is where we're at, here's the number that's going to be out of each class. And then, like Dale said, somebody will say, well, the lightweight class only had 5 and class 4 had 15. So, okay, you know what? If that's how you want to do it, and like, again, at a county fair, this is more workable because it's smaller deal. You can use the number in a class to decide how many come out of that thing make sale order. I'm also going to tell you, as someone who judges as many county fairs as there, the number in a class makes no difference in the quality, because some of the biggest classes have the least best animals in it. They could be some of the weakest classes.
And your class 3 may have 3 killers in it.
Right. The class 3 may have 5 animals and 3 of them are in the top, 7 of the whole show. So that really doesn't matter. But there is going to be no perfect solution to anything. If there was, we would all figure it out a long time ago. But I just wanted to bring this up because, again, talking about things that don't happen, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that fight the whole sell order deal, and maybe nobody's ever had something that they can refer to or talk about when these comes up in county fair board meetings and all this other stuff. And so I just thought that was something. But there are other solutions than just sale order to do it. You can pick number in class, or say we're selling top 2, all this other stuff. And again, like Dale alluded to, if you make that decision and stick with it, everything will even out over time. It's not always going to be that the South Downs have the easiest slot to the sale, or the lightweight goat division or the super heavyweight goat division or any of those things. It will all balance out and even out over time. But again, just more options for you to do this. To all the county fair people that have been doing sale order for 965 years and all this other stuff and love it. God love you. I'm not saying to do away with it. I just think that we needed to bring up some things on why the concept is very good. But I do not think the concept actually works out the way that it is supposed to the large majority of times.
Agreed completely. This is good. You just so people know, Ryan came up with this one today, I believe. You at least threw it out there today.
Yeah, no,
it was easy.
Yeah, I was just like, and again, I haven't judged a county fair in probably a month. So but I was just sitting there. I was like, you know what? I want to talk about this today.
So looking at the sale order or premium sale order title, Ryan and I talked about this right before we jumped on. I think it's appropriate to do an episode on online sale order /
Oh, I got a lot to say about that shit too.
No, I think that would be I think that one would be interesting. But this
I have a lot to say about that too. And you want to talk about
hold it.
You want to talk about offending people? I'm gonna offend everybody.
Hold it. Yeah, we'll save that one. We got to make sure they tune in later. Okay, before we go to your favorite question and answer, I did get a message or some insight from one of our listeners regarding the cattle mutilations. They talked about this, and I knew this, and I didn't bring it up, but they reminded me. Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. I remember that place that myself and my two sons stopped at one day when we're venturing through Utah on a fossil hunt, and we tried to get. Yeah, we didn't even try to get in. They were very unfriendly. But there were some cattle mutilations going on there, and I haven't heard any more about it, but it does intrigue me a little bit. It's out there. I don't know. Anything that you can't explain intrigues me. Okay, question and answer. These are the easiest question and answers we've ever had. Easiest.
And again, you still don't have a sponsor, so I may just not answer.
I had somebody text me just yesterday that they want, and I can't remember who it was. I'm very bad about getting back, and I'm going to work on that. Okay. This comes from Chad. What is the best and worst showing surface for each species? Ooh, I didn't realize that each species.
Oh my God, this may be the best question that's ever been submitted.
Oh my God.
Whoever Chad is, I love you, sir. And don't take that the wrong way since I'm homosexual. But I do love you. And this is, everybody needs to listen. So repeat the question again because they need to hear it.
And I know this particular individual, so he won't mind. We can even use his last name if you think he deserves some credit. You're not.
I don't know, but this is probably this is my favorite question.
Chad Martin from Indiana submits the question: what is the best and worst show ring surface for each species?
And I am going to tell you, Chad. I think the answer is the same, but for both for best and worst on all species. I think it's the same. And I'm going to start with the best because that is easiest.
And I think we're going to agree. This is
pelleted shavings.
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
And again, I know that they are the most expensive and that's why, but most shows don't have them and all this other stuff. But for not to be able to see all the feet, for the comfort level of the animals, all this stuff, there is just no question.
For the perspective, they don't sink too far. Yet they're not on concrete. That surface changes the entire show. Oh, it changes the look and the dynamic of those animals.
They don't sink down. You can see everything on the feet. It is got the most cushion, the most comfort, so the animals can walk at their best. And one thing that goes overlooked on the pelleted shavings a lot, that I think is a big thing, is it is also the easiest to make level of all bedding by far.
I would agree.
And a level surface, whether you're judging or showing or walking that animal around, is probably the most overlooked thing of it all. I cannot tell you how many times not when I was judging show, when we were taking, I would go to the ring and find all the low points up there when I was showing or helping it. And then if I was there, when we had the show string and I was broken out, I would drag all those little children up there and I'd be like, do you see that spot? If you put your calves front foot in that spot, I'm coming over the rail and I'm choking you right there. because no one understands until you've judged that the difference in how much a level surface in the show ring affects things,
It's
both
appreciated.
walking and standing them up. So
I can't say enough about the pellet. They're expensive. I don't want, and Ryan, you're going to have to give them an alternative because they are flat out going to be expensive to make your ring, depending on how large that is. But that surface is perfect. It's the easiest to keep moisture. And think about some of those dirt or clay rings. They'll wet them down. We're out there slipping and sliding in the mud, and an hour later, it's a dust bowl. These pelleted shavings, you can keep that moisture level right. It's not even close on any species for this one. Not even close. The problem is, what's your second one?
And because they are so expensive, the next thing that I guess, I don't even want to give a second one because there's really not, because I can come up with so many things wrong. I guess the next thing would be just as fine of a wood chip shaving as you can get, because again, pellet is way better, but as very fine.
Try to pack it well,
right? Wood chip shavings that are packed.
So you're pretty much trying to do the same thing here.
Well, all the other surfaces suck.
I mean, they are. Think about that hard packed clay that you get in your area. Think about the deep sand that Arizona National used to have, but when we made a recommendation, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah. Did they still have that in the
No, they have it, I think, in the outside cattle ring.
Yeah, that you judged in. Yeah, they didn't change it there.
No, not there, but they can't. That's a hard one. But all the indoor rings are now the pelleted shavings, and it's really good.
For anything other than cattle, I don't mind turf. Again, it's not going to be. It's not what, but if it's hogs, sheep, and goats, it's not going to be a comfortable surface for any of them. But I don't mind it because it's better than a lot of things. I think it's an absolute disaster if it's cattle, but I don't know.
But some of the sheep and goats will slip out on it when they're burst.
Yeah, I mean,
there is not a good second.
No, there's not. Now I can tell you what the absolute worst is by far, and Dale might argue with me, but I think it's the worst for every single species, and is that bark mulchy shit.
Yeah. No, the coarse, chunky ones.
Yes. Yeah, that you can't level it out. It is hard. It is uneven.
The real coarse, not when there's not even hardly any fines in it.
No, I mean it's that I don't know, bark mulch. I don't know what they call it, but it looks like baby trees that have been chopped up and spread out in the rain. Oh my God, it's disgusting. It should be outlawed.
And I think on the goats and sheep, that the real loose, deep sand. Remember, sometimes we judge in the beach sand. That's tough.
I'm just telling you, deep sand is the worst for a judge because they have to walk in it the most. But I think
all those lamb and goats look like midgets.
Well, it does, but I think sand. The one thing about sand, if you're showing in it, if you're the exhibitor or the animal, you're going to be able to hide a lot of shit.
Yeah,
so
very forgiving.
Yeah, and it's forgiving. So that's why I say that the mulch is by far the worst, because you can't level it out. It hurts.
I'm going to find. I have a different worst. I have those barn shavings that you're going to call it that are put on top of a clay or a dirt surface, and they've been there for 10 years and they're completely disintegrated into these little bitty particles that just want to blow up into my eyes and cause a dusty, awful. There's nothing worse when you're out there and you can't even see because that trap's blowing in your face. And
look, I was just in western Kansas with hurricane force winds, and I couldn't see anything for 2 days, and I made it. So
I'm really out on those disintegrated the shavings that we haven't changed for 10 years. I'm out completely. Out. I have a second best.
Oh, what's your second best?
I think, and there's a lot of difference in sand. But some of that more packing sand, if it's somewhat packed and watered down, and actually you've used equipment to groom it and get it right, where they're sinking in about like they would on those pelleted shavings that are wet down, you can make a finer sand ring work if it's really managed well. I think the kind that packs well, not the not the beach sand. Well, I shouldn't say beach sand. Not the real loose sand that's impossible to do.
Loose sand. Yeah, loose sand is the best word.
Yes,
for that.
there's some sand that you can make work.
And then the only other thing on this question and answer I want to bring up, and one thing that needs to be addressed, if you're showing in somewhere and the floor is concrete, like the floor of the facility or whatever is concrete, and I don't care if it's textured concrete or slick concrete, if it's concrete, whatever you use for the show ring, you make damn sure there is enough of it that those animals, after a whole day of showing or 2 weekends of showing or whatever it is, that you're not going to get animals down on the concrete, because that's when legs get broke and shit goes bad. And I can't tell you how many times, how many shows I have seen this and worried about it all day while I'm judging, or worried that one of ours is going to be a victim of this. So if your arena is on a concrete floor, please make sure that you have substantial bedding to last the whole time.
And I'm going to put that in there as third. If you can give me a good concrete surface and you put enough, even just regular shavings on there that are really wet down and packed well and deep enough, I'm okay. But it's going to take a lot of management throughout the day.
The only reason you like a concrete surface is because it's level.
Yes. Yes, I would agree with that. And I kind of like pigs on concrete. It's easy to see who's breaking down.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
That puts more emphasis on soundness. Chad's causing this episode to go long. You realize that?
I think that's the greatest question.
This could have been a whole
had.
episode. We could have made that a whole episode rather than a question and answer.
Oh, I don't care.
But it was good.
Question ever.
Okay, number 2, Krista. Listening to the Breaking the Rules podcast and having wondered the last couple of years as we get started in the livestock showing world, how and where can I find a list of items and processes that are illegal in the showing world? Asking from a single mom who wants her son to succeed the right way.
Well, I think this was kind of one of the intents and purposes of that podcast was, I don't think that there is a clear, place to find this or to know this or these things, and that I think
near impossible to list everything.
Right, it's impossible, but that's why I think the shows need to do a better job of communicating what they're testing for, what they consider illegal, what drugs, all this other stuff, because in every book, premium book, rule book, whatever, that has drug testing, there is going to be a paragraph or 2 or 3 that talks about unethical practices and all this other stuff, and that's going to give you a general overview of what they consider to be unethical practices and that they're drug tests for things and all this other stuff. But most times, like on the drug test chart, it just says something that's not FDA approved or, all this other stuff. It does not list. And the other thing, and again, this is a good question, but like there is lots of things that you can go to your vet and use legally on a variety of species or all the species of an animal at different times throughout the feeding year. But if you do it within X number of hours of when that sample is taken at a show, then you're probably going to get caught in a drug test. And maybe you weren't meaning to do it to break the rules. You just didn't know better. And so that was kind of one of the purposes.
That is a very good point.
That is kind of one of the purposes, is I hope that gets out there, is because we do need to do a better job of communicating of this is what we're testing for. We just can't blanket say anything that is within the withdrawal times of the FDA, yada, 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 all this other stuff. We need to be more specific, and then people are going to jump out. Yeah, well, if you're specific, then they know what you're testing for. Why would you not want them to know?
I think the hesitation in doing that is they may forget something, and somebody will find that loophole if they have to list everything. So it's a slipperier slope than ideal, but I agree with you.
Because like people tell me all the time, well, if you tell them all, then they're going to know what they're testing for. So whatever. Nobody wants to have people cheating at a show. That is not, so yes, tell them what you're testing for. Let them know. Maybe there's a lot more people that get caught up, just like I say, innocent people that gave their stuff something, they got it prescribed from a vet 3 months ago, left it in the refrigerator, and you know what? Snuggy, the Hereford Bear's got the sniffles again, so we're going to give him another shot, take him to the show, and you're out on a drug test when it was perfectly legal for you to give that thing 3 months ago. So, good question. I think the best thing to do is consult the rule book or the premium book for whatever show you're going to. If it is not clear enough for you, I would call that show, talk to somebody, ask them. If again, I know not all states have great county agents and ag teachers. That is another resource that you could go to, or your broker, your breeder, whoever, you bought that animal from. That's another person that you can talk to and ask questions from, or again, people at the show, all of those, people that do this all the time at state, national level. Go up, ask them. But I mean, I understand exactly what she's saying. She wants to know what she's not supposed to do and win the right way and all this other stuff. I think that is one of the biggest reasons I wanted to have that podcast, is because I don't think it is clear enough what is legal, what is not legal, all this other stuff.
So I agree. And Krista, I think those that are in the trenches showing, advising, whatever hand they have in it, they know when they're breaking the rules, and that's maybe a smaller percentage of the population than everybody that's showing. So it would be good for people like yourself to get guidance. But there are people out there you can ask, and I'm going to say most of them that are intentionally breaking the rules for performance enhancing are very aware they're doing it. But you could consult any of those people that Ryan was talking about. So excellent. Ryan, I think the next one's easy, but maybe, I do forget things. So maybe you can correct me on this. And it's not that we don't try, because we do try to do this. It just never seems to work in terms of scheduling. This one comes from Jimmy. Ryan and Dale, do you guys currently have any shows scheduled that you're judging together, or rings A and B?
Not that I'm aware of.
I know we've had a couple invitations that all the way out into 2024 that we have not committed to or didn't. It's not that I'm trying to avoid it by any means. I enjoy it. It's fairly entertaining.
No, I mean, it's been fun the times we've done it. It's just so hard for us to both have a weekend that we are able to do it. But I mean, we've done it probably a dozen times and it's been fun, but I cannot remember any show in the near future that we are lined up.
Did you commit to PI out in Oregon on 2024? No, you did not. Why? That's way out there. You could have done that.
I'm booked already.
So I don't, Jimmy. Not that Ryan would not forget. I'm capable of forgetting something. I'm capable of forgetting an entire show if I don't write it down and get it right into my calendar when asked. But appreciate your interest in that. And if we do have one coming up, we'll make sure to announce that. But a very long episode, we'll blame that one on Chad's question.
Best question ever.
But greatly appreciated, Ryan. Until next week, be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?